Hi everybody, thanks for joining me again today. I'm Dorothy. I'm a professional astrologer and you can find me on the web at nhastrologer.com. And there's also a little icon in the corner here where you can click on that. Today I'm talking about the month of July, and this is for those of you who are Leos. This is your month that's coming up. Right now, though, in the beginning part of July, we're still working with a lot of Cancer energy. And we start the month of July on the 1st with a full moon in Capricorn, and it is in your 6th house. And that 6th house represents your everyday living, your everyday work, what you do on a regular basis. And when we have a full moon, that usually and typically brings a sense of awareness to us where something is working or is not working. And at full moons, a lot of people like to release and let things go that haven't been working over the last few weeks. And even months and months. It depends on the level of awareness that you have in your own life. So we'll start off July in that, and that's how you'll start off July. Working through those things that your everyday life is all about. The next aspect I want to talk about would be with the Sun in the sign of Cancer. And it is in an opposition to Pluto. And when that opposition happens, this goes on from your 12th house to the 6th house. So if Pluto's in that 6th house near where that full moon was, which it is, that just means that there is something heavy duty going on. Once a year we have a full moon in the sign of Capricorn. And again, wherever Pluto's transiting in anybody's chart is where there's the biggest amount of transition and changes happening. And so that would mean that there is a big shift and change going on for you in the sector of your everyday living, what you do on a regular routine, your regular work. And it is our daily health routine as well. Things like brushing our teeth, bathing, good nutrition. These things are coming up for you this time around, Leo. And then especially when the sun is illuminating that 12th house sector, that brings... Well, it's like taking a flashlight into a really dark closet, a closet that doesn't have its own light. And when the sun illuminates that sector, we have things to work on once a year that are just for us to work on. It's those very private things. So you're going to work on that, and that's where the sun is coming from for the next 3 weeks for you. So this is going to be a very illuminating month for you. It's usually the month before our birthdays is. It's that time of year when we feel like we should be feeling like going within, and we're not trying to expand outwardly. We can still expand outward, but it's not as effective. The thing that's most effective is to go within, and this is the time of year for you, Leo, that you're going within. Now with the sun as well in the 12th house on the 12th of July, it is making a square aspect to Uranus, and as it makes a square aspect to Uranus in the sign of Aries, again, you're trying to really define, but there are some obstacles and challenges of who you are and what it is that you need and want in your life right now. On the 15th of July, we have the new moon in the sign of Cancer. Again, that is a 12th house new moon for you. And that's wonderful. The new moons do represent us setting new goals and bringing things into our world that we want. But again, when it happens in the 12th house, this happens to everybody once a year, and this just happens to be your month. So when we have that new moon in that 12th house sector, we are able to, again, release things that aren't working for us, but also set some new goals. Things come up that we usually just sort of tuck aside. And so this is a month for you when it's important for you to face things that come up for you. On the 18th, also, Mercury is in Cancer at this point in time, as well as Mars and the Sun. So these guys are part of our report today. So on the 18th of July, Mercury in the sign of Cancer, Mercury in Cancer is all about a very emotional way of communicating. All right, we communicate emotionally when Mercury is in that sign, and it as well is making a square, which is a 90-degree angle to Uranus, and that square energy represents challenges and obstacles. But they're easy challenges and obstacles to get over. These are both cardinal signs, and that means that we are able to just take one step finally, there'll be some sort of breakthrough for you. I promise there is some sort of breakthrough, unless you're just going to be adamant about not growing. And if you're watching this, it's pretty good bet that you're interested in your own spiritual growth, because that's where all of this is coming from. It's coming from our unconscious mind. It's coming from the spiritual sector. And a lot of this can be influencing your dreams as well. If you're somebody who remembers your dreams, this is very, very important for you. And you'll be able to work through this stuff. It's fantastic. It's a great opportunity to shed your skin. But then on the 22nd of July, now the sun finally moves into your sign out of the 12th house and moves its way into that first house sector. So now you're going to be able to, it's just like a butterfly coming out of a cocoon is a good analogy. You're going to go from this tiny little thing that's been really crushed, and not crushed, but you've grown out of certain things. You've shed your skin, like I mentioned earlier, and now you've got these great big wings. Leo is very flamboyant at times, very dramatic, very passionate, dynamic. Use this, have a fabulous time with it. How could you not? You're a Leo. You guys are all about really expressing yourselves in whatever you're passionate about. On the 25th of July, we have Venus in the sign of Leo already. So Venus has already been in your first house. While you've been doing this internal work, there's something going on the outside. So for the last week or so, while Venus has been moving through your first house, and you've been doing a lot of internal work because of everything in your 12th house, you've been makeup, hair, I don't know, you've been doing stuff to beautify yourself or your surroundings. But now Venus goes retrograde on the 25th in Leo. She'll be retrograde in Leo until September 25th. And all the way till the end of October will she be in Leo. So she's spending a long time in the sign of Leo, usually only 7 weeks or so. Venus spends in one zodiac sign, and now she gets months in it. So what do we do when we have Venus retrograde? Venus retrograde, especially in Leo. Venus in Leo is very passionate. It's, oh my God, it's just, it is. It's love. It's that passion. It's that romance, that in-love feeling that we get when we first meet somebody. It's also a fabulous way of being very creative and very extravagant with our money. So while this planet's retrograde, we need to be cautious. It will show us where we've overspent, if we've done that, and it will show us where we may have jumped into a relationship too soon. One of the major recommendations for a retrograde of Venus is don't get married during this time period, because basically, well, you can do what you want, and there's never anything that's hard-nosed, but whenever I see somebody married during the Venus retrograde period, the relationship tends to be more about working on old karmic issues, whether it's from this lifetime or whether it's from childhood or past lives. You and your partner may have some karma that you need to finish up from past lives or work through. So it's a very karmic relationship. And that is soulmates. It's not twin flame, no, because that's true love. But this is all about working through and supporting each other, whatever your karma is. I can go and name a whole bunch of stuff. If you want to know, you know how to reach me. But that's the energy of this, and this is going to go on all the way through the end of October. All right? So just be aware. That's all I'm telling you. Also, during this time period, right around the 25th of July, we have Mars. Again, he is in the sign of Cancer, still in that 12th house. If you need to refresh, rewind. Mars in Cancer is very active. When we have something that we're very emotional about, it's typically we don't hold back if we have Mars in Aries. But as a transiting planet, it's going to add that little bit to our lives, and somehow we're going to say, what the heck is this all about? I'm not usually this emotional. Well, there is something that's creating this emotion for us. So something that's very emotional will come up, sudden shifts, sudden changes, because it makes that square angle to Uranus again. And here we are. Uranus right now in the sign of Aries is all about creating change for ourselves and being very unique, very independent. It's a global thing as well, but on a personal level is what I'm talking about for you. The global thing will leave for some other report. But with that energy of that Mars square Uranus, There will be some shifts and changes that you'll be able to, I think you're going to be able to, you like these changes as long as you're willing to take the steps. You know, it is an emotional breakthrough. And again, with Uranus, you know, transiting through your 9th house for a couple of years now, and it will take another year or two. That's about expanding our awareness, you know, and breaking free of the old dogmas of religion or our old belief systems, whatever they happen to be. It's breaking free of that. So you have a really interesting month right now to really break free of a lot of old ways of being and old ways of thinking. Now, the final thing I want to talk about for you, Leo, is on the 31st. We do have the second full moon of the month. It's an astrological blue moon, we'll call it, because we had one on the 1st full moon, and we have a full moon on the 31st. It happens occasionally. It's not super rare. It just happens. This goes on, this full moon in Aquarius, the moon, when it's in Aquarius, is very analytical, very logical, very practical, thinks things through, isn't overly emotional. Thank goodness, because we had an awful lot of Cancer energy throughout the whole month, which is very emotional. But this time, what we have is that first 7th house axis of the full moon, and that is about relationships and what's going on in the dynamic of a relationship and a partnership. So all that internal work that you did in the beginning part of July and now that the sun is moving through your 1st house, you may have realized that somebody is not good for you, and you may release a relationship, or you may realize that, wow, I have a great partnership here, and you really want to confirm that. So all of those energies that's just touching base. There we go. I'm leaving that in because I'm at the end here. So thank you for watching. Please share. That's how I grow. It's how you grow. It's how you get the information that you want. Thank you very much. And I will say blessed be. And namaste.